is we're going to talk about finding special products of polynomials. Finding products, we have done this, it's just by multiplication. Remember, product is just a fancy way to say multiply. So, what I want you to do is I want you to look at these three different products that I have for you. So, we've got two terms, a binomial, two of them, and the third one that is there is two binomials. I want you to guess or actually try and see if you can answer these problems. No, and then we'll go through the actual. Okay, for this, I'm guessing that some of you may have brought the 2 in, so we've been doing that, distributing, so we get 2 squared, which is 4x squared, and then 3 squared plus 9. So this would be a good guess for this problem. Same thing down here, 4 squared is 16, x squared. Now here, I don't know what you did with that minus, if you did. I have that negative 1 squared, or how you did that. So I'm guessing some of you had 16x squared minus y squared. Some of you maybe had 16x squared plus y squared. Something similar to that. Now here on this problem, I'm hopeful that you're able to go through it now. So hopefully you're able to solve and get the correct answer. With this, we have 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1. We're taking that first, and we're distributing it in to both of these. So 2x times 2x, 2 times 2 is 4. So we have 4x, x times x is x squared, so we have 4x squared. I bring that 2x times a negative 1, I've got a minus 2x. And then I go again, and I have a plus 2x. And lastly, should have changed my color here so you could see that a little bit better. When I brought this in, I got that plus 2x. And when I do the 1 into the negative 1, I get this actually. Let's delete this here so you can see what I'm doing. We'll change the color. So we'll go with, so we had a plus 2x. And finished off with a minus 1. Now we'll look at the actual answers in just a minute. What we're going to do is we're going to look at this, and we have a square of a binomial. And number 1 is a square of a binomial. If I look at number 1, the pattern that I'm going to associate this with is going to be a certain type. The reason, when I look at this problem, I'm just going to set it up here. We have 2x plus 3 squared. Our binomial is held by addition. When we have addition between the pattern, so we have a binomial with addition and it's squared, we need to use this equation. A squared plus 2 times A times B plus B squared. So we have to pick out that middle term. That's going to happen each time that we go through these. Now when I look at this, my first term, or right here, that 2x needs to be our A. So on this problem, A equals 2x. And my second term that I have, or this 3, is my second term. So I have my B equals 3. And then I just really have to plug it into the pattern. So we have the a squared, we have the plus 2ab, we have the b squared. So that's the pattern that we're going to use, and all we have to do is plug this into the pattern. So I know that a squared, well, a is 2x, so I'm going to use substitution. I'm going to put this 2x in there. And you guys have done substitution in the past. So I have 2x squared plus 2 times a, 2x, times b, 3. And then I'm going to finish off. I've got that b squared. My b is 3, so I get plus 3 squared. And the only reason I have stuff in parentheses and I left that 3 out is because I don't have to distribute it to anything except for the 3, so we can just have 3 squared in the end. going through now, remember when we have a squared part, we need to make sure that, for some reason my tablet's decided that it doesn't want to work for me. So I'm going to take this and hold on here, gotta fix it. Not sure exactly what was going on there, but got it. So I'm bringing that into both. 2 squared is 4. And there it is, it's going again on me. So here we go, 4x squared. Multiply 2 times 2, 4, times 3 is 3 times 4 is 12, so we got plus 12x. And then I finish off my problem, 3 squared, which is 9. So if I look at my guess, I had that 4x squared plus 9, when actually I should get 4x squared, and then we have to add plus 12x, because that middle term did come, or came up as we went through, and then plus 9 on the end. So if I just bring that squared in, I'm actually forgetting that whole middle term, so you can't do that. The second problem that we have there, we had that 4x minus y. Again, I'm going to put it up here, so I have 4x minus y, and this is squared. A little bit better y. So here I have what's called the square of a binomial pattern, but instead of having plus between them, it's attached by this minus symbol. And that's going to play a role in my pattern. So I don't have the exact same pattern, but it's very similar. So I have a squared. Instead of plus now, it's minus 2ab. And then I end up having the plus b squared in the end. So the only thing that's different in my binomial pattern is the difference between a positive 2ab and a negative 2ab. And on the first one, I had plus between my binomial, so the terms of my binomial, so I used the plus 2ab. In the second one, I have a minus between the 2 terms in the binomial, so I'm going to use a minus 2ab. And when you do this now, you cannot use, when you find a and b, you cannot use that minus or that negative number. What I mean by that, when I go through the process here, a is going to equal my 4x, just very similar to before, but b now is not negative y. b equals positive y. So a and b are just kind of in locations, so don't let that plus and minus kind of confuse you on that. So when we're going through now, doing the same thing, I've got 4x, the quantity squared, because that's my a term, minus 2 times my a term, 4x, times b, which again is a positive y, plus my b squared, which is y squared. When I go through my final answer, again, hopefully this will let me do it this time. There we go. Distributing into both of these, e to the 4 and to the x. 4 squared, 16, x squared. Minus now, I've got 2 times 4x, which is 8x, times y, so I got a minus 8x y, and I finish with this plus y squared. So when I look at how I started it and my guess, I did have the 16x squared. I did have the minus 8, or I didn't have the minus 8xy that came up when I went through the process, but I did have this plus y squared. And again, I didn't know if you were going to put this part of it, so I said you could have minus, some of you might add plus. So what's happening here is we're adding, or we're getting that last term. So we have to be careful of what's going on here. The sum and difference pattern is it's probably the easiest one, the most useful one that there is. Most of the time with the square of the binomial pattern, instead we're just going to use our double distributing. We're not going to remember the pattern. If you got double distribute, you don't even have to use this pattern. It's just something that will help you, maybe makes it a little quicker for you. The sum and difference pattern is really nice to use. Looking at example 3, we have 2x plus 1. So this was a binomial that's got a sum. Forgot the 1 here. So we have 2, let's get rid of that x, maybe I can do better here. 2x, nope, that's even worse. We'll start completely over, maybe that's a problem. So we've got 2x plus 1, and then we have the second part, so there's the sum. We have the second part that actually has the minus between the two terms in the polynomial, 2x minus 1. Now, going through the process, if we look at this example 3, we did have a minus 2x and a plus 2x, hopefully, in our guess that you were able to come up with. And knowing what we know about terms and polynomials is those would cancel out. Well, the nice thing about this pattern, when you find a sum and difference pattern, you end up getting a squared, so our a term, minus b squared. And that's it, because when you have a sum and difference pattern, the middle falls out. So with this, a equals 2x, and b, again, we're not worried about the sign, we're worried about where it's placed. A is here, b is here. It's not plus 1, it's just, we have to remember that it's 1. It doesn't matter about that minus or that plus, it's just where is it placed. So it's just 1. So when I solve it, I'm going to get, for my answer, a squared, or 2x, in parentheses, squared, minus b squared. Well, b is 1, so 1 squared. And when I do that, distribute in to the 2 and to the x. 2 squared is 4, x squared is x squared. I get minus 1, and it goes away. So I don't have that middle term like I had before. And if you look here, up on the guess that we came up with, or I brought to you, they go away as well. So we're left with this 4x minus 1. So the most helpful one that we did today is maybe that sum and difference pattern. The square of a binomial pattern when we have addition and subtraction, you guys can use that. And you can see it is helpful, but make sure when we look at these finding products that we're actually writing the answer twice. Because if I just distribute, I'm missing that middle part. So going back here real quick, really this 2x plus 3 squared, I should have 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. So just make sure that you know that, and then you can use double distribute. Or if you want to remember this pattern, you can remember the pattern. Alright. With that now, I have some problems for you to try. There's 3 of them there, so get them done for tomorrow, and we'll cover them, we'll talk about them. You can use the patterns. We've got one that's held by addition, so here's our first pattern that we talked about today because it's addition. The second one is the subtraction, and this one that I find most useful, the sum and difference, is the third problem. And remember, the first 2, you don't have a term, you gotta get one. The third one, with this, we have sum and difference. Our middle is going to cancel out. So, best of luck. See you tomorrow.